Hello, students, and welcome. Today we are going to look at a very important and a very fascinating topic, nucleic acids. We are going to find out what exactly is the code that makes each one of us, well, us.
Have you ever looked in the mirror and just wondered, why do I have my mother's eyes or my father's smile? We see this in our families all the time, right? But the science behind how these traits are actually passed down is really incredible. Well, the answer is not some kind of magic, it's pure chemistry. Deep inside every single one of our cells, there is a truly remarkable molecule. You can think of it as the director, the architect, and the librarian of your body all rolled into one. This molecule is responsible for heredity.
So here is our plan for today. First, we'll understand life's information blueprint. Then, we will use a simple analogy called the master cookbook of the cell. After that, we will actually visualize the famous double helix. And finally, we will connect this code to the real world with some amazing examples. Let's begin.
All right, so Section 1, Life's Information Blueprint. Now, the first question is, what are nucleic acids and why should we care? Simply put, they are the blueprint for all living things. Their main job is to store and pass on all the genetic information that makes an organism what it is.
Now for the proper scientific definition. Nucleic acids are polymers. Now, don't get scared by this word. Poly just means many. So a polymer is simply a very large molecule which is made of many smaller repeating units, all linked together in a long chain. And the job of this chain is to store all the genetic information and control how proteins are made inside our cells.
To make this even simpler, just imagine your body is a very complex machine. Let's say a super advanced robot. Now, the nucleic acid is the master instruction manual for that robot. It has every single instruction that is needed to build it and to make it work properly. And what kind of instructions are we talking about? Literally everything, from how to build your heart to the color of your hair. And it's not just about building, it's also about operating all the systems that keep you alive day to day. So you can see, without this manual, the machine simply cannot be built or run correctly. Now for our next section, the master cookbook of the cell. We're going to use a really fantastic analogy here. And I promise you, this will make the roles of the two main types of nucleic acids, DNA and RNA, super clear and very easy for you to remember. The analogy we will use is that of a master cookbook and a single recipe card. This is truly one of the best ways to understand the relationship and the different jobs of DNA and RNA. Okay, just look at this and imagine. Think of DNA as this huge, precious master cookbook. It has every single recipe that your body will ever need. It's so valuable that it is locked away for safety in the cell's library, which we call the nucleus. Now, a single recipe from this book for just one dish, which is a protein, is what we call a gene. Now, you would never take the entire valuable book into the kitchen, would you? No, you would just make a photocopy of the page you need. That copy, that single recipe card, that is RNA. Then you take that RNA recipe card to the kitchen, the ribosome, to actually cook the dish, which is the protein. Do you see the flow? From the protected master book to a working copy and then to the final product.
So the most important takeaway from this is very simple. DNA is the permanent master blueprint and it is safely stored. RNA is the temporary working copy that carries the instructions from the blueprint to the construction site.
Okay, so now we know what DNA does, but what does it actually look like? In this section, let's build a mental picture of its famous double helix structure, step by step. I'll make it super easy for you to remember.
Okay, let's build our DNA molecule in our minds. First, just picture a simple ladder. The two long side rails, the parts you would hold on to, these are called the sugar-phosphate backbones. They are just a repeating chain of sugar and phosphate molecules, and they give the DNA its structure and strength. Simple enough, right? Now, every ladder needs steps, or rungs. These rungs connecting the two side rails are the most important part of DNA. They are made of molecules called bases. You can just think of them as the letters of the genetic alphabet. It is the sequence of these bases that actually stores all the information. And these bases follow a very, very strict rule. It is not random at all. There are 4 types: adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine, or A, T, G, and C for short. The rule is that adenine will always pair with thymine, and guanine will always pair with cytosine. This specific pairing, A with T and G with C, is the absolute foundation of the genetic code. Now for the last and final step. Take this ladder that we have just built in our minds, with its sugar phosphate rails and its A, T, G, C rungs, and just give it a gentle twist. This twisted ladder shape is the famous, iconic double helix. That is all it is. Great. We have covered the theory. Now, let's connect this amazing code to the real world. In this final section, we will quickly summarize the key differences between DNA and RNA, and then we will look at a very powerful application of this knowledge.
So let's put DNA and RNA side by side to compare. As we already know, DNA is a double-stranded helix, while RNA is just a single strand. The sugar in their backbones is also slightly different. It's deoxyribose in DNA and ribose in RNA. But here is a very key difference to remember for your exams: the bases. In RNA, the base thymine, or T, is replaced by another base called uracil, or U. So while DNA has A pairing with T, in RNA, A pairs with U. And of course, their roles are different. DNA is the master blueprint, and RNA is the temporary working copy.
So, why does all of this matter in the real world? Well, one of the most famous applications is something you've surely heard of in movies and TV shows: DNA fingerprinting. It's a technology that has completely revolutionized forensic science. So how does it actually work? It's a very logical process. First, investigators collect a DNA sample from a crime scene. It can be blood or hair or saliva. Second, in the lab, they analyze the unique sequence pattern in that DNA. You can think of it like a unique genetic barcode that every person has. And finally, they compare this barcode from the crime scene to the barcode from a suspect's DNA. If the two patterns are a perfect match, it provides very, very strong evidence that the person was at the scene. So let's do a quick recap of our three main takeaways. First, nucleic acids are the instruction manual of life. Second, the cookbook analogy is the easiest way to remember the different jobs of DNA and RNA. And third, understanding this code allows for powerful technologies like DNA fingerprinting. I know this can feel like a lot of new information, but please don't worry. If you just remember these three core ideas, the instruction manual, the cookbook, and DNA fingerprinting, you will have a very solid grasp of this entire topic. It will make everything feel much, much simpler to understand and to revise. And I will leave you with one final, truly amazing thought. This genetic code we have been talking about, this language of A, T, G, and C, it's basically the same for you, for a mango tree, for fish, and for the smallest bacteria. It is the universal language of life on our planet. So what does that tell us about where we all came from? It strongly suggests, doesn't it, that all life on Earth might share a single common ancestor. It is something to think about.